Hello, my name is Amelia Nagoski, and today I'm going to be talking about the thing I never get asked, but wish I could shout from the rooftops, the little monitor. Sorry, I'm down here in the corner of the screen. I know it's less compelling than watching like a full person in the filling the, but I'll make it worth your while, I promise. It'll be good. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to be good yet. I'm not fulfilling that promise yet. This is the most fascinating, exciting, boring graph in all of affective neuroscience. This represents what Emily and I call the little monitor. We call it the little monitor because what it actually is the discrepancy, reducing, increasing feedback loop, looking at criterion velocity. Ha, that's why we call it the little monitor. It's obvious what it is, right? Hypothesized approach-related affects as a function of doing well versus doing poorly compared to criterion velocity. A second vertical dimension indicates the degree of behavioral engagement positive to be. Oh, I lost track of that sentence. There's got to be something else we can do to make this more graspable. What the research shows is that people understand complicated things when you tell stories about them. So that's what we're going to do. Luckily, we already have a well-known story that uses the characters in the Little Monitor story. Yes, these are the characters from Inside Out, the Disney Pixar movie about a little girl, well, a tween named Riley, and all the emotions who live inside her. Joy, which is her default state. Fear, whose job it is to keep her safe. Anger, whose job it is to keep track of when things are fair and just. Disgust, whose job it is to make sure she doesn't get poisoned, either physically or psychologically. And then there's sadness. And in the beginning, when they introduce everybody, Joy says, I don't even know what sadness is for. And you learn at the end of the movie that what sadness is for is to be a beacon, a bat signal, to tell the people around Riley that Riley needs help. So sadness isn't like inherently negative or bad. Sadness has a job and is very important. This negative experience, this down experience, is actually something really important to turn toward. Thank you, sadness. So now we know who the cast of characters is. Let's see how they relate to the little monitor. Okay, here we are with that supposedly boring chart, but what's really going on is this. Joy is here as your default state, and the monitor kicks in when you have a goal. And your monitor is keeping track of three things: the goal, how much effort you're putting in toward achieving that goal, and how much progress you're making. The example Emily and I usually use is driving to the mall. So imagine that it takes 20 minutes to get to the mall, just because it takes 20 minutes to get to the mall basically anywhere in America. We've talked to a lot of people and they all say, it takes like 20 minutes to get to the mall, no matter where we are. So you know it takes 20 minutes. Your little monitor knows that it takes 20 minutes. You get in your car, you hit the first light and it's green and you just soar through. So when you get to the next light, it's green too. And you just soar through. And it's easy going and it's straight gliding all the way to the mall, no stopping. And you get to the mall in 15 minutes and it feels amazing. All that luck and all that timing. And your monitor is really happy because you achieved your goal with less effort than it expected and then made faster progress because of that. That's how you get a happy monitor. Let's suppose the first light is red and you're stuck, and it's fine, that's how it usually is. And then you get the next red light and you're like, ugh. And then you get the third red light and you're like, really? Every red light? I get no luck at all today? And then you get to the next light and the person in front of you doesn't go when it turns green and you're like, what? How? And you're trying to get around, but you miss the light again, and that means that you're at red at the next light and you're starting to feel some feelings. You might feel any of a variety of different ways. It might be anger. Oh, I can't believe it's taking this long to get to the, or it might be disgust. Oh, I am just never going to the mall again. Or it might be fear. Oh no, I'm not going to get to the mall. I'm not going to meet the people. I'm not going to get the thing that I have to get. Because your monitor is frustrated because there's your goal. It can see it. It's keeping track of your goal, but you're putting in so much more effort than it thought you were going to have to and making less progress than it expected you to. And that expectancy has not been met, and therefore you feel the feelings. Now let's say that it's even worse. You're not just going to the mall, you're driving, 6 hours, and you have the GPS going, it's telling you where the traffic is, but the traffic's taking even longer. And then you get to traffic that it didn't even predict, because look, there's a car that's disabled on the side of the road, and it's taken up 2.5 lanes, and all the police cars are there working around it. And you are just stuck there and you can't go anywhere. Everything's stopped. You can't get, like, you're just almost home and you just want to be home. And it turns into this head banging, fire starting rage. And at some point, your monitor can switch its assessment of your goal from achievable goal to unachievable goal. And when your monitor decides this goal is not achievable, it gives up. It drops you into a pit of despair. Oh, sadness is behind my head. Hi, sadness. That's fine. It's fine. Doesn't this make this graph more compelling? Come on. This slide full of cartoon characters is definitely more compelling than even my Muppet face. When we were writing the book, Emily identified a feeling, which is that point of oscillation between frustrated rage and hopeless, helpless despair. When your monitor has reassessed your goal as unattainable, it switches to hopeless despair, and then it goes back over into rage, and then back to hopeless despair. I can't believe how could they, this is so tragic and hopeless, and I'm so helpless, and I can't believe they did this to me. That state of oscillation between helpless despair and frustrated rage, we gave it a name, because there's a lot of research that shows when feelings have names, people understand them better, and the name for this one that we made up is FOOP. FOOP. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, I'll stop now. Okay, so we have taken one concept from the book, the mechanism underlying frustration, the monitor, the discrepancy reducing increasing feedback loop. So what I'm gonna do next is put it into an autistic context. There's this kind of stereotype of an autistic kid going from 0 to 10 on a dime, switching from doing just fine to all of a sudden screaming. I haven't heard any explanations for this, but my experience as an autistic person who has done this, switch from 0 to 10 out of the blue, I know that I've done this and that other people are surprised by it, but that's not my experience of it. My experience of it is I go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's not that I skip, it's that my brain already knows what this path is going to be, because since I was born, I've been trying to achieve a goal. That goal has been unattainable for me, which is to be like other people, to belong to the pack, to fit in the herd, to be a part of human society and not be different. I've been trying this whole time. By the time I was in kindergarten, I already knew that I would make the attempt, that the amount of effort involved would be more than society indicated to me that would be required. The progress I would make would be slower than I had been told would happen. And my monitor would switch its assessment of my goal from attainable to unattainable, furious rage, frustrated rage, hopeless, helpless despair. It's not that autistic people don't have any control over their temper. It's that our brains are already very familiar with the path that it's going to take. Our brains recognize, we've tried this before, it's not going to work. Going, foop. This is just me. I do not and cannot speak for all autistic people, and I have not read any science on the neurology of the autistic experience of the monitor, but the mechanism of the monitor is pretty well established. We know that autistic people's brains work differently. Is this one of the ways that it works differently? I don't think so. I think it's just that our brains have learned a lesson that other brains don't have to learn. That's what it feels like to me. This is going to lead naturally into another subject, which is learned helplessness from Martin Seligman's research. I'm not going to get there today. Today I'm just talking about the monitor, but that's the direction it's going. And there will be another video about that. So for anybody who's not autistic, who's like, well, what do you mean? What does that feel like? It feels like this. Maybe the first time we see this screen, we're like, okay, I'll just wait patiently for these updates to install. And we wait. And we gradually get more and more bothered because this is taking much more effort and we're making much less progress than we were led to expect. And therefore our monitors are gonna be like, no. And then this blue screen comes back second time, third time, fourth time. And after you're very accustomed to what this screen means and what it's going to involve, then your brain goes straight from la 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 to foop. Because you've been through this before, your brain knows what to expect. And this brings me to the So Annoyed song. It's not safe for work, so if you can't have the F word where you are, like headphones or turn it down or just wait till later, it's about the experience of frustrated rage. This is a song about frustrated rage and hopeless, helpless despair. Is it plugged in? Did I turn it on? Why won't it fucking work? Are the cables old? Is the connection loose? Why won't it fucking work? So annoyed, so annoyed. Why won't it fucking work? Is my sound source selected? Is my webcam on? Why won't it fucking work? Did I join with audio or click on mute? Why won't it fucking work? Oh yeah, I'm so annoyed, so annoyed. Why won't it fucking work? Every time I think I know what to do, it never fucking works. I reset what I expect, then something new goes wrong. It never fucking works. Still I try, someday I'll make it work. Foop. I've sung this song several times now for a variety of audiences, and people find it quite relatable, especially now that we're all, on Zoom up to our eyeballs. So I'm hoping that anybody who's not autistic who can relate to that feeling, take that feeling and apply it to what it's like to walk into a party. Foop, it's so fun to see. It's a thing you've done a million times before. You know what it's going to be like. You want to be there. You're trying to do good things, right things that are good for your well-being, that, connect you with other people. And you know that it's going to be so hard. And your experience tells you that it's probably not going to work. And you're still trying anyway. So as funny as the So Annoyed song is, we've all felt that rage and that despair. And for me, that's the same experience I have going to a party. Hashtag relatable. Yeah, that's me in sadness. We're best friends now. And now is the part of the video where we get to solutions, concrete, specific, evidence-based things you can do to use this information to make yourself feel better right now. Remember, the monitor is keeping track of three things: the goal, the effort, and the progress. The two things that we really have control over are the effort and the goal. So we are going to first try changing the effort. Boing. One of the ways you can change the effort is planful problem solving. And I have included this picture of me collapsed on a hotel room bed because this is what I looked like, and Emily decided it'd be funny to take a picture. When I arrived in the UK for the UK portion of our book tour, we used to travel a lot, and I was good at it. Packing kind of became a special interest. I reduce the amount of frustration I'm going to feel by planning ahead, by knowing that on the airplane I'm going to need ibuprofen, comfortable clothes, and I learned from Sam Irby always to carry poopery. Planful problem solving is not a thing that I can tell you how to do, because each problem, each goal is going to have its own set of circumstances, and you personally bring your own set of preferences. But there are lots and lots of books and YouTube videos about how to solve whatever problem it is you're facing. After the last video, my brother-in-law suggested, haha, next time you should make a montage video of how did I not know I was autistic because of obsessive special interests, and that video should be of all your Tom Bin bags, because when I was learning how to pack, I found this brand of bags that were perfect and solved all my problems. And I thought, yeah, I'll go take pictures of my bags, but then I just looked through my pictures that I already have, and it turns out I have a lot of pictures of my bags, which might say more than how many bags I have about how I feel about my bags. Look how good that organizational system is. It's perfect. In addition to the big bags, they have organizers and accessories and stuff, and they all just, oh, My ukulele, not my concert ukulele, my soprano ukulele fits in that 30-liter bag. You can't tell me that's not exciting. That's not even all my bags. I've gotten a lot more bags than that since then. Secretly, deep down, I really wanted this whole video not to be about the monitor, but just to be about planful problem solving as an excuse to talk about planning and packing strategies and what kinds of bags serve what kinds of needs and how each individual bag that I own solves a problem for me in my real life. What's it like to have a hobby? Okay, so getting back on track, planful problem solving, which in the context of autistic people is going to be about how to be autistic in public and not feel like a pariah. So for me, that manifested as learning about anthropology, reading anthropology textbooks when I was in high school, learning about body language, and as a conductor, part of my training is understanding like how body language works, and that's a skill that I use every day. And there are lots of reports of autistic people, especially autistic women, learning how to hold conversations and to engage with other people by just learning from TV and movies, imitating what they see, straight up mimicking the sentences that are said, or imitating and mimicking the people around them. We go out of our way to learn how to fit in order to make up for the fact that we don't pick up implicitly what other people just kind of magically know. The next strategy for changing the effort is positive reappraisal, and that is recognizing that this trouble you're having, the amount of effort you're putting in, which is so much more than you were told to expect, is actually good for you. I hated this one. When things are hard, there's generally a better outcome. There's so much research that proves that this is true. If you want to read the science, just go to scholar.google.com and search for positive reappraisal. And it feels so dismissive of people's suffering to say, this is such an opportunity for you to learn when they're in the middle of something that's really unpleasant. So I don't want to tell you, oh, this thing you're going through that's so hard, it's going to be worth it in the end, because ew, but when you remember it yourself, go read the science if you have to be convinced of it. It is, I had to, so that when I'm in the middle of something that sucks, I don't just have to like push myself through and burn myself out by never giving up and believing I need more persistence and what's appropriate here is more grit. No. You just do the best you can, and it makes it happier for your monitor to realize, aha, this effort I'm putting in is going to be worth it in the end. I have this image from the end of Neverending Story because this is what it feels like when you've gone through the complete, arduous, tortuous journey of despair and desperation, and then it turns out to have been worth it. Falcor! And if your monitor is still freaking out and saying, this isn't working, and we are gonna miss some. If that's still happening, instead of changing the effort, you can change the goal. This is a picture of me failing. My goal here was to run out to my car and grab my umbrella before the rain started, so I'd be dry. I failed. I did not keep myself dry, which was my goal. I ran out to my car, and on my way there, the rain started, and it was one of those rainfalls that was like literally a shower. Within seconds, I was soaked to the skin. But I did get my umbrella. The new goal is don't get wet next time. So this was not a failure. If my goal wasn't to get dry, then my goal was to get my umbrella so that next time I go out, I won't get wetter. Mission accomplished. How this is manifested for me in an autistic context is I'm not a failure at the things that are hard for me because I'm autistic. I have done really well considering how autistic I am. My goal should not be the same goal as a neurotypical goal. The world works so hard to convince everyone that there's only one goal and that we should all be working to achieve that one goal, to fit that one narrow ideal. And you will be reminded over and over and over on social media and in magazines and in the news and on commercials and on talk shows that you're a failure. that you should be a better person. So redefining success by changing what the goal is not easy. You're going to need helpful people around you to help remind you, oh, that thing that you heard on that TV show, that was a lie. Your goal is to be your best you. It's very hard to remember that on your own, and you need help reinforcing it. But as I've said, the cure for burnout is not self-care. It is all of us caring for each other. And this is an instance where that's going to be such a help. That's really what makes this possible in this context. And there is one more thing you can do to make your monitor happier, and that is to quit. Change the goal by just saying, nope, not doing it. I'm out. Gone. No, thank you, please. That goal that you set for me, I don't want it anymore. And again, there's large-scale cultural pressure that says that winners never quit and quitters never win. Winning at what? If the thing you're trying to win is something that you hate, is something you don't agree with, is something that doesn't fit you, is something that gives you no pleasure, then quit. It's a legitimate option. When you're surrounded by that crowd of people who love you and support you and care about your well-being as much as you care about theirs, they can help remind you that you don't have to do that thing that everybody told you to. What people don't tell you that's necessary when you quit is that then you do have to start over. Quitting is not the easy way out. Quitting is hard because then you got to start over, make a new plan, set a new goal, planful problem solve, positive reappraisal, because it's going to be hard. Sometimes the devil you know is not better than the devil you don't. Sometimes it turns out that the devil you don't know is actually an angel. But of course it's risky. And trying to decide which one of these strategies is the most appropriate for this particular moment, again, the cure for burnout is not self-care. It's all of us caring for each other. So ask the people you love. Ask the people who care about you as much as you care about them. And if talking to other people about things that are difficult for you does not come naturally, it doesn't come naturally to me, but I'll be talking about how to make that easier when I get to chapter 6. So that's it. 4 concrete, specific, evidence-based strategies you can use right now to feel better, even when your monitor is very, very frustrated with the amount of effort that everything is taking when society told you it shouldn't be this hard. Maybe society will admit to us that, well, it's going to be an uphill climb. Uphill climb my ass. It is a mountain with no path. You have to claw your way up. Most of us have already tried a lot of planful problem solving. If you haven't, give it a shot. If you feel like the planful problem solving is already helping, but everything's still like way harder than it should be, try positive reappraisal. It's true that this incredibly difficult situation is actually a learning opportunity, and when I get through it, it's going to have been so worth it. And if those aren't working, change the goal. Redefine success by saying, no, I reject whatever somebody tells me the goal is, and I'm going to make the goal that's appropriate for me. And if that's not working out, quitting might be the appropriate choice. Just be prepared for quitting to be hard. They're going to tell you quitting's the easy way out. It's not. Quitting's hard. So in order to make quitting easier, go ahead with the planful problem solving and the positive reappraisal. So let me know if you've done these things already and if they worked for you, or if you haven't, go try them and see what happens, then come back and tell me. In the meantime, remember who the real enemy is, the systems that oppress us all, not the other folks down here being oppressed by that system. Because the cure for burnout is not self-care. The cure for burnout is all of us caring for each other.